Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Monday, May the 4th. Ian Cameron and Rachel Krychak with you. We'll have Alex with us just in a little bit, but great to have Rachel back with us. We'll try to get Rachel on Mondays for the rest of the playoffs, schedule permitting, of course, for her. But excited to have Rachel back, and we're here to talk, obviously, two-game Stanley Cup playoff games tonight. Philly-Carolina Game 2, Anaheim-Vegas Game 1. Also getting underway tonight. Excited about that. But first, Rachel, we'll just ask you, how was the weekend and what did you think of the playoff action?
I mean, last night was bonkers. That game was drunk high. Like, you legitimately could have snorted a line and had a worse night than if you watched that hockey game. Like,
Playoffs
in terms of
drugs.
vibes.
Yeah.
That's straight up. You could have been hallucinating if you were watching that game last night. It was insane. There was only one 2-goal scorer. That was Cale Makar. Like, somebody somewhere had like a 5 or 6 goal scorer parlay in that game and just made like $1 zillion. Just an unbelievable game from an entertainment perspective. Like, would I like some defense to be played? Yes. But if you're going to sit here and say that the Montreal Tampa game was a better game to watch in terms of entertainment than that game, we legitimately might not have a more entertaining game the rest of these playoffs. Like, that was sick. That was stars making plays. And it's not like most of the goals were bad, like clunky goals. Like, those were Tarasenko's goal was nasty.
Yeah, it was. That was there was a bunch of goals that were beautiful. How about those howitzer bullet of a shot that Cale Makar had on a couple of those goals for the Colorado Avalanche? Yeah, it was a crazy game. Minnesota and Colorado. It ended obviously 9-6 when it was all said and done. Who knew an alternative total of 14.5 would have cashed in that game last night? I just had 5.5. Silly me. I should have gone for the alternative team total. Yeah.
Our top value pick at Betalytics last night was the over 6.5 on the play. It was like plus 115 it was paying. And somebody texted me and they were like, so about that bet. And I was like, why have there been like 0 goals scored? Because I had PVR'd the game because I went out for dinner.
Right. I
come home, I start watching the game and I was like, oh, all right. Yeah. That's probably why.
It was just back and forth. And why I like the over on the show yesterday, best bet for the show yesterday was that Wild Avs over 5.5, is because I think it's a culture shock defensively for both teams coming out of what they faced in the first round. Dallas was offensively compromised, and we know they struggled at even strength offensively to score goals in that series. Not to mention Mikko Rantanen was not 100%. There's that was clear watching that series. So they had a lot of issues as far as being at their best offensively. But most of their production came on the power play. So you figured going from Dallas to Colorado was going to be a step up for Minnesota defensively and for the young goalie, Jesper Wallstedt, as well. And you flip it around to the other side. Well, Colorado's going from a Los Angeles Kings team that's rarely going to scare anybody offensively from what we saw in the first round, and going to a Minnesota team that's got game breakers up front, a little bit of depth punch offensively from your Michael McCarrons of the world. The bottom six can chip in. Marcus Foligno as well, who scored a heck of a goal. Give him credit. That guy can play a little bit, Marcus Foligno. Let's give him some props as well. And obviously a blue line that's way more mobile and way more ability to get involved in the offense, Minnesota, than Los Angeles. So that's a bit of a learning curve here for Colorado. So you put the two elements together, Rachel. It felt like the perfect recipe for an undervalued total there at 5.5 last night. And we didn't know it would be that undervalued, right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody would have predicted that. Like, I could have seen a 5-3 type situation, but if you score 6 goals in the playoffs, like, you should win that game kind of situation. And then, like, on the flip side, if Montreal scored on every single shot that they took last night, they would have had to go to overtime against the Avs. Like, this is, I mean, if we're going to be intellectually honest here, Tampa Bay was the better team yesterday. Like, absolutely. Systematically, they absolutely brilliant. They gave up 0 shots in the second period. If you give up an average of less than 5 shots a period, you are the better team. Like there's really no two ways about it. And they got unlucky, and Jakub Dobeš was excellent through the majority of the series, specifically in Game 7. And so I look at it and I go, okay, did the better team go through? No. Are we still going to get a super entertaining series between Buffalo and Montreal because it's two young teams? Yes. I think the Tampa Buffalo series would have been more feisty and angry. I think the Montreal Buffalo series is going to be more fun. There's going to be more mistakes made, and you're just going to have more scoring opportunities. And given that both teams are kind of built on a house of cards that is their goaltending, which could collapse at any moment, this series could be wild.
It absolutely could be. Montreal, Tampa Bay. I promised everybody yesterday we'd do this sing this little chorus if Montreal were to win Game 7, and we're going to do it. And I'm going to see if I can make this work with the help of the actual sound in the background, because nobody just wants to hear my voice. So let's go. Let's hit it. Here we go. Montreal fans, I promised you this. A little bleu blanc rouge for a big Game 7 victory. Here we go. Bleu blanc rouge. Hier aujourd'hui et demain. Bleu blanc rouge. Le Canadien, le Canadien. There we go.
This is
How about that? How about that? The Montreal Canadiens, Game 7 winners over the Tampa Bay Lightning, plus 150. We cashed with the Canadiens.
Best series of the first round.
Yeah, and how about them winning 3 games, Rachel, in Tampa? And we said it all along in these games where I was betting Montreal as road dogs. I'm like, this series has been closer than putting Tampa Bay as a minus 160, minus 170 home favorite consistently. In this
I thought
series.
that. Yeah. I thought those lines were disrespectful, especially because Montreal was so good on the road. And I was talking to somebody who works in hockey ops for another team, and they said, they're like, listen, if you can't win 2 games at home, you don't deserve to go to the next round. Tampa could not win 2 games at home. You had home ice advantage. You couldn't get it done. And if you cannot win 2 of the 4 home games you get, you don't deserve to go to the next round. Like, it's really that simple. And kudos to Montreal for being as good as they were on the road. Like, I think that that's great. And now we kind of get this weird reality of, like, Montreal is the actual, like, Canadian team because they're based in Canada. I don't buy into, like, everybody cheering for everything. But let's be super serious. Buffalo is, like, 12 minutes from the Canadian border. Like, that series is going to have almost no travel. Those teams are going to be pretty well rested when you compare to the travel that, like, the teams in the West are going to have to do by the time all is said and done. I think it's going to make for a better series because teams are going to, like, they're going to be more rested game to game because of the lack of travel.
Yeah, it's a fair point. No question. But it was just let's be honest. Let's give the flowers first and foremost to Jakub Dobeš. They don't win that game without him. He was absolutely spectacular. And if you're Tampa Bay and you're seeing Brandon Hagel complain about almost like looking like he 2x4 hit him, saying, how the hell did we lose that hockey game? And he was just in utter shock in the post-game press. How did we lose that game when we outshot them so heavily? And John Cooper talking about the hockey gods conspiring against him. They've been on my side a lot in the past. They were on the other side here tonight. I mean, I get it how devastated Tampa Bay is coming out of that game, that they had that shot advantage, all that time in the offensive zone throughout that game. And there's Jakub Dobeš coming up extremely large in net time and time again. And just to put it into, they had, by the way, that's how much did Tampa Bay, as far as carry the play against Montreal? That was the first time ever in playoff history. And the Montreal Canadiens' history is long. It's ancient. That's how long this franchise has been around. It was the first time in Montreal Canadiens playoff history that the Canadiens had no shots on goal in a single period. And that was the case in the second period, where they had not a single shot on goal. They had only 9 shots on goal for the game. And you factor in that 9 shots on goal for Montreal, 15 goals combined in the Minnesota-Colorado game last night. I mean, there were more combined goals in the Minnesota-Colorado. Colorado scored as many goals as Montreal had shots on goal. That's insane. That's nuts. Oh my God. Colorado 9 goals. Montreal 9 shots on goal. Are you shitting me? Oh my goodness. Crazy stuff, Al.
I think I'm kind of at the point now where, like, if Colorado or Minnesota gets through to the Stanley Cup final, and I have to believe that one of them is going to at this point, if it's anyone but Carolina out of the East, genuinely, they're going to get curb stomped. Like, watch the Colorado-Minnesota game last night. They're playing a different sport than most of the other teams. I think Carolina, from an offensive perspective, is the only team in the East that can keep up with them. And then when you add everything in, like, I don't see how a Buffalo, a Montreal, or a Philadelphia keeps either one of those teams from putting up 4 or 5 a game.
Yeah, that's true. Alex, I mean, what can we say about that Montreal-Tampa game other than, for Tampa Bay, I feel it. I feel the pain. That's a brutal loss considering, you did all the right things. You didn't give Montreal much. What were their 2 goals? Their 2 goals were a deflection by Suzuki and a bank shot. The bank was open in Tampa last night for Alex Newhook off the back of Vasilevsky and in. Those were the 2 goals you gave up. And you gave up very little, if anything, other than that. And you're doing everything, peppering Dobish, all these shots, all this ozone time, and you only get the 1 goal and you lose. That's hard. That's hard to wrap your head around. That's hard to deal with that and come to grips with that.
It is, but at the same time, when you also look at this Tampa Bay team, okay, you were able to play lights out defensively, hold the team like Montreal to 0 shots in the second period, but then you only got 1 goal. You got to take advantage of that. When you have a team literally fucking face planted on the ice and they aren't doing anything, you have to take advantage of that. And that should have been a 4-1 lead after 40 minutes, not tied 1-1. You can't do that. You have this there's at least 2 parts of this game of hockey, right? Offense and defense. You did a great job defensively. Didn't do enough offensively. And that created you. So I got to sing the song now too, Ian. You got to have to put the music back up because everybody's wanting
You promised you would? Oh my gosh.
I promised if
I thought that was only going to be an Ian thing. Oh my goodness.
No, so it's,
oh my gosh.
Let's see. I only know a little bit of French, so un poquito.
Yeah, I don't expect you to go the full course en français like I did, but just the bleu blanc rouge part you might do. But either way, all right, let's crank this up one more time. We get Alex his little ability to take the stage, if you will, right here. Here we go.
Bleu blanc rouge. A Canadien.
Here it's coming up. Go.
Bleu, blanc, rouge. Le Canadien.
We got to work on the timing a little bit, but there we go.
A little bit off, but there we go.
There we go.
Yeah. So, it's my first time singing in French, so
work on that timing a little bit, though. But good stuff indeed. Yeah. No, that was good. And Montreal on to the next round. Now, here's the thing that I've got to get off my chest here. There's a lot of the Tampa Bay fans that are obviously, they're feeling hurt, they're feeling upset, and I get it. It's tough to lose like that, especially in a Game 7 where you played more than well enough to win. But I can't listen to to me, it's nonsense that Montreal stole the series from us and we were the better team. I can't go that far in this. No, I can't. That I cannot do. Do you want me to read out the number of minutes Montreal was leading this series compared to Tampa Bay? I think it was 120 minutes for Montreal and 27 for Tampa Bay, and then the rest of the series was tied. It was a damn close series, very close. The margins were thin, but I can't sign off on the Tampa Bay Lightning fan being all pissy today saying we were the better team in the series. That's a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch of garbage. Look at the minutes led in the series. Montreal, 127 minutes they were ahead, or 120 minutes, and I think it was 27 for Tampa Bay, something along those lines. So basically, Montreal was ahead for almost 100 more minutes in this series with the lead at some point in the games during this series than Tampa Bay. So I can't condone that. I can't endorse that. Tampa Bay fans feeling we were the better team. No, probably the better.
They were the better team in Game 7. That's really the only. I would agree. It was a pretty even series. If you give up only 9 shots and the 2 goals you get scored upon are banks that were not going in the net, yes, you can absolutely make the argument that you were the better team in Game 7. Like that. I mean, I think that's pretty tough to argue. But over the balance of the series, I totally agree. Like, I don't think that they were categorically the better team and the better team lost. That's not true in this case.
And when your number one player is completely absent in another game 7, I didn't realize this until
Kucherov,
about a
yep.
couple hours ago. Nikita Kucherov, 7 game 7s, no goals, no assists, and a -2.
Yeah, not good enough. Yeah,
Okay.
not good enough. I mean,
No.
and Point. What did Point? Like, I hate to say it, I love Braden Point. He's had a great career down there in Tampa, but you couldn't find him with a telescope in this damn
Yeah.
series. Yeah, so like I said, that's the problem right there. 100% with it. I'm just seeing if I can find the exact numbers, but I mean, it was clear, that it was. Yeah, there it is. 127 minutes led for Montreal in the series. 27 minutes led for Tampa Bay in the series. Okay, I mean, no, we can't do this discussion that Tampa Bay was the better team and Montreal stole it from them. No, we can't sign off on that. If you watch the series, they were still more than deserving as far as winning it. All right, let's get into the Monday games because we got Rachel here for about 15 minutes. She's got a spot to do after that. We will begin with the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. It's game 2 of this series. We've got Carolina minus 250 is what we're looking at here. Upwards of 260 actually in some spots as far as home favorites. You can get plus 210 take back with Philadelphia as a road underdog here. A total sitting at 5.5. It was a dominant, thorough, decisive game 1 victory for the Carolina Hurricanes. It felt like they were suffocated. That's by the way, we got to correct that. Second round, not first round. But yeah, it was just complete dominance for the most part by the Carolina Hurricanes in game 1 of this series on Saturday night. And normally in a series where I think it's going to be pretty competitive, when you're looking at a game 2, you like to make a case for the team that lost game 1. I don't think I can do that here unless I see something with my own 2 eyes that changes, because all I saw in Carolina was Carolina checking Philadelphia into the ice, a wretched power play for Philly, which has been an issue for them all year against an elite penalty kill. And I know I've said this. I've done a few interviews already today and talked about this, so I'll repeat myself. Rachel's used to this too. You got to say the same things if you're doing multiple shows multiple times. But the puck pressure all over the ice by Carolina is unlike anything I've seen in a long time. I mean, there is no time and space for anybody to do things with the puck for the opposing team. Just ask Ottawa in the 4 games. Just ask Philly in game 1. There is no time and space. Just when you think you've got a little crack of an opening, like Konechny had in the slot. Oh, there's a stick in the lane. Oh, there's a blocked shot. There's someone, getting in the way. That's just Carolina closes the time and space for opposition better than pretty much anybody. And I would even put Colorado and Minnesota and some of the other heavyweights out west in that discussion, with the way Carolina has been able to defend. And I've got to give some love to Frederik Andersen, because even I didn't know this until I saw it earlier today, that he is number 1 in the playoffs in goals saved above average. I didn't see that coming. Whoa. And look, he's been really good, but I've credited a lot of it to Carolina defending in front of him. Let's give him a fair share of that credit too. The numbers don't lie. He is number 1 as far as goals saved above average for the Carolina Hurricanes here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Canes first period puck line, -0.5, plus 130 is I think the price you can get. I'm going to go with Carolina. Now I'm going to sprinkle on Carolina team total over 1, plus 115 first period at BetMGM. And I'm going to see if maybe that number drops. I'm also going to put a bigger bet maybe on the Carolina to get just 1 goal in the first period once that line drops, if it does. Like if we go scoreless for 6 minutes or so, we'll be able to get Carolina goal in the first period at a better price, and I'll probably take a little bit of that as well. I don't even hate, now you can get Philadelphia team total under 2, minus 125. I don't hate that, if you look in that direction. I mean, why prognosticate something to happen that you haven't seen yet? And what we haven't seen yet is Carolina giving up goals in bunches. What was the most goals Ottawa scored? There were 2 games where Ottawa scored 2 goals. Other than that, 0, 1, and of course they ended up shutting out Philadelphia 3-0 in game 1 on Saturday night. They just haven't given up many goals. So it's hard to see this Philadelphia team, where offense has been their bugaboo most of the season, being able to light things up. But again, most of my looks are going to be contained and concentrated toward first period here tonight in this game. Alex, we'll start with you. Game 2, Flyers Hurricanes.
Yeah, like I said, I don't see much changing from Carolina's approach and the way that they've played. Like I said it recapping game one, there's like a crocodile in a death roll. That's the way that they grab Philadelphia and then just absolutely seize them up at both ends of the ice. And that's the way I see things playing out here. So the way I bet this is I have both teams to score in the second period, plus 182 over at FanDuel. And at BetMGM, I took Hurricanes to win, and I went under 6.5 goals at plus 105. I feel like this is going to be another one of those just kind of just low plotting. Carolina gets the momentum rolling, even if it could be, like I said, scoreless first period. But I think Carolina you'll visually see them dominate that first period despite no offense. And then that's when things will kind of open up in that second period, and eventually it'll just lead to another Carolina 2-1, 3-1 kind of a win. But this feels like it's going to be old, 1996 hockey again. And Carolina is just simply the better team, just put together. Just everything that they're doing at both ends of the ice is just very, very stable right now.
Yeah, no doubt. That's now we did see them shut out Ottawa in game one, and in game two, Ottawa was probably, it was a better game from Ottawa, but it still wasn't enough to win. And it ended up being obviously 3-2. And Carolina did win. This is why I like the first period puck line and the Ottawa and the Carolina team total looks early in the game, because it was 1-0 for Carolina in game two after the first period, after they had shut out Ottawa in game one. So they showed they didn't have a letdown. They didn't, we're satisfied we shut out Philly and Ottawa in game one. No, they came out and they had a good start in game two against Ottawa. So I'm hoping we see more of the same here tonight against Philadelphia. And why I like the first period looks is because we see Carolina sit on the lead. We saw it in game one. They didn't really go after 3-0 or 4-0, 5-0. They didn't look to add on goals. Once they got up 2-0 early, the focus was defending, being airtight, being responsible with the puck, and they didn't chase more goals after that. That's kind of why I like Carolina more early than full game. But I like Alex's look, too, with the parlay piece. That's a good way to approach it if you're going to look at it as far as the full game is concerned. Rachel, how do you see this one in game two?
Yeah, I'm not going to trust Philadelphia at any point in these playoffs now that they've beaten, sure, they got by Pittsburgh.
I'm willing to, but show me first. Show me first before I do that.
We're not talking about Pittsburgh anymore. We are talking about Carolina. And then, like you said, this is a very different team. And if you look at the two teams that Carolina's played, Ottawa was the best defensive team in the Eastern Conference this year, and Philadelphia was second, and they were first after the Olympic break. The difference between Philadelphia and Ottawa is Ottawa actually has players who can score and create offense. They have more of them. Philadelphia has children who can score, but they've barely played in the NHL, and Matvei Michkov barely plays at all for God knows what reason. But then you look at how this shakes out. So Philadelphia is great defensively, but if you can't score, you don't have a hope in hell with Carolina. So I'm taking Carolina regulation money line. It's minus 150, and I'm going to parlay it with a Sebastian Aho point. It's been written and talked about ad nauseum, the Stankoven-Blake Hall line, and they have been absolutely fantastic. And I think Rick Tocchet knows that, and he's going to line match appropriately, which is why I think it's going to open up Seth Jarvis, Sebastian Aho tonight. And I think that's going to be a problem. Seth Jarvis hasn't gone over his shots on goal line in 5 straight games. That's a problem. But I do think he is a facilitator of offense, which is why I like the Aho point parlay with the Carolina regulation win. You get that at plus money. I got it at plus 125, I believe, earlier this morning. The other parlay that I'm going to do, and this will surprise absolutely nobody in the chat, is the blocked shots parlay. I am taking Travis Sanheim and Nick Seeler for 2 blocks each. It is plus 120 right now at Bet365. We're talking about a volume shooting team and playing against a team who expects to block a ton of shots. And those are the guys who play matchup spots. And in Nick Seeler's case, plays on the penalty kill more than a matchup spot. Those are shot blocking opportunities. I think you kind of have to take that, especially when you're getting it at plus money. So those are my 2 looks. I do like the first period stuff. I like to stay away from it, though. I trust the Canes over the span of a full game. I think they've shown that they're very good against inferior opponents, and it really takes an elite level opponent to slow them down. I'm not sure there's an elite level opponent in the Eastern Conference left.
Well, and another thing, too, you're not going to see me betting an over in this series, at least not yet.
No.
I mean, not at all. You look at, and by the way, the one over in a playoff game for Carolina was the Game 4 eliminator against Ottawa, 4-2. It's the only game to go over 5.5. There were 2 empty net goals by Carolina in the third period of that game. So that's the only reason it went over. Everything's been a dead nuts under for the Carolina Hurricanes so far here in these playoffs. You know what I'm going to run back as far as props? Give me Logan Stankoven, goal, assist, shots on goal, all that stuff. He just keeps on scoring, keeps on going over his shots. The first goal scorer prop has to be a sprinkle too. How many times has he scored the first goal as well? And you're still getting plus 200 still. For some reason, the price is still that good for Logan Stankoven. They'll find the back of the net for Carolina. And don't sleep on Hall and Blake as line mates. That line has been absolutely sensational. To Rachel's point, you would think at some point, Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis are going to get on the board. Svechnikov's goal prop is what I like. He continues to have chances. Eventually, something's going to go in for him. For the
I
Carolina
think what you're going to
Hurricanes.
see tonight is you're going to see, so Tocchet likes to play the Couturier line with the Sanheim pairing in a hard match role. I think he's going to have to split that up. I think one line, the Couturier is going to have to face either the Aho line or the Stankoven line, and then the Sanheim pair is going to have to take the other one. You have to have some level of matchup pair against both, and I think that's going to open the door because in game 1, he hard matched the Aho line, and they got run over by the Stankoven line. So I think that split up is going to be exactly what Aho needs.
Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of things that Rick Tocchet's going to have to figure out and try to make adjustments. And this might not just be a matter of adjustments. This might just be, you're just up against it as far as personnel, and Carolina's just playing that good and at that high of a level right now. All right, Rachel's going to head on out in a few minutes. She's got another spot to do, so we'll go right to her first here with Anaheim and Vegas, game 1 in the West. We've got Vegas minus 170 home favorites here in game 1. The total 6.5. Oh yeah, we got the series. By the way, if there's anything, Rachel, you want to talk about as far as series bets, because this series hasn't started, you can do that. And game 1 specifically, I'll just throw it out there first quickly. I think this is going to be a similar, not maybe 15 goals type of game flow like Minnesota, Colorado, but I do think we get kind of a back and forth game here. All 3 meetings got 7 goals during the regular season between the Ducks and Golden Knights, 4-3 final scores. I do think we'll see some goals here tonight in game 1. Rachel, what do you think? Anaheim, Vegas.
Yeah, so we have an MVP props on Betalytics. It's a page where that it targets like the most valuable props based on like previous history, recent games, and the line value. And even though these are heavy minus numbers, when you consider what their hit rates are and what their shot attempts are, they're still pretty valuable. Thomas Hertl for 2+ shots. The depth that Anaheim has is not nearly the same, and they're going to have some trouble with Vegas. Edmonton is not the same as Vegas when it comes to their forward depth, and I think Thomas Hertl is about to get a sweet matchup. So I'm going to take a Thomas Hertl over 1.5 shots. I'm also going to take John Carlson over 1.5 shots because I look at this. He's getting a ton of minutes. He's the guy that they look to as the primary shooter at the point, and they get a ton of traffic at the net front. And so from that, I'm going to take my bargain bin special, Alex Killorn, to score a goal. The guy ranks 10th in scoring chances in the playoffs this year across all teams. And so when you take that combination of things, plus we think that the Ducks are going to get shots from the point because that's really how you beat Vegas. I think Alex Killorn and Beckett Seneca, both above 300 to score tonight. Huge value there. And the other guy who's 14th in scoring chances and 3rd on the Ducks is Beckett Seneca. And he was this morning plus 380 to score a goal. So I'm looking at guys who are playing on the second line for their teams. Brett Howden on the second line with Mitch Marner. That's a huge spot for him. And then you look at Alex Killorn and Beckett Seneca, who are flanking the second line for the Ducks. If we think this game is going over, and I do think it is, those are my goal scoring props, and they're all bargain bin because they're all 300 or above. And then I've got my 2 shots on goal props with Hertl and with Carlson. Those are the guys that I'm going to take there, and I'm going to take Braden McNabb for 3+ block shots because that guy is an absolute machine in the playoffs.
He's a road grader, human road grader. Braden McNabb, yes.
Exactly. And I don't trust the goaltending in this series. Like, if we thought last night was whack, that's like a one-off game for those goalies. Carter Hart is a genuine sieve in the net right now. And Lucas
I didn't love
Dostal
his
in the
series
first
as he went on.
round.
I thought he started strong. I thought it kind of got a little suspect as it went on for Carter
Yeah,
Hart.
it
I
did.
agree with that. Yeah.
Exactly. And so then I look at that, and Lucas Dostal is either I'm going to be a Vezina Trophy candidate or I am going to be unplayable. And if he's also unplayable, there are going to be 12 goals in this game.
I don't know if we're going to get 15 like last night, but I do think there's goals. So just before we get you out of here, bargain bin special officially. What are the ones you want to go with for bargain bin?
We're going to go with Howden and Killorn for bargain bin, but I have Seneca on there. Those are my three dudes.
There you go. All right, SM. And a best bet for tonight, Rachel, before we get you on out of here, what do you got for best bet, if anything?
Best bet's going to be the Carolina Hurricanes regulation money line with the Sebastian Aho point. I don't see a way that the Philadelphia Flyers win tonight. I really don't.
There you go. Carolina in regulation, Aho point. I know you got another spot in a few minutes, so we appreciate Rachel Krychak for joining us. She'll join us on Mondays anytime she can. Rachel, thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Let's win our bets.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hopefully I'll have a day like yesterday. I'll be happy. Thanks, Rachel. Again, good luck tonight.
Thanks, you too.
All right. Check out Betalytics as well, which is Rachel's site. Great info, great stats, great insight as well. Good stuff. All right. So we'll circle back around now to just the series first, because I do have some series bets here. We got Anaheim plus 170, Vegas minus 200 as far as the series price is concerned here between these two teams. I think, again, there's a little bit of a disrespect to Anaheim. I'm not saying I'm not latching the saddle to Anaheim winning this series, because I think there's a lot of things that went their way against Edmonton. A hobbled McDavid, a hobbled Draisaitl, a hobbled Trooper and Jason Dickinson. That's your three centers down the middle playing at less than 100%, all of them ailing. And I think the Anaheim Ducks were able to take advantage of that. But that still doesn't stop me from thinking this is a very well-coached team, obviously, by one of the GOATs of NHL head coaching in its history, in Joel Quenneville. This is a team that's got great guts. They've shown ability to just, be able to take a punch and punch back. We've seen that throughout the playoffs as well from the Anaheim Ducks as well. I think there's a very close and a very long competitive series between Anaheim and Vegas. So I'm going to go the 6-7 route. I love that. 6-7 games, Anaheim 4-2, 4-3, Vegas 4-2, 4-3. It's exactly what I'm doing. I think this is 6 or 7. I think Anaheim's going to push Vegas. There's elements of Vegas's game against Utah that I did not like. And I think if Utah is burning you in transition and Utah is burning you off turnovers with odd man rushes and quick puck movement and speed in the neutral zone, Anaheim's capable of making you pay for that too. Because I think Anaheim can do every bit of what Utah did, maybe at a little bit of a better rate, because I think there's maybe a few more game breakers. When you look at Utah, there's a lot of reliance on Keller and Cooley and Gunther. And after that, there's a little bit of an offensive drop-off. With Anaheim, they can get other players chipping in as well down the line. Look what Jeffrey Viel did in a couple of games for the Anaheim Ducks against Edmonton in the first round. So I think this is not going to be a cakewalk for the Vegas Golden Knights. Could they win this series? Absolutely. And if you force me to choose, I think Vegas is going to win this series. My pick is Vegas to win this series. But I think it's going to be 6 or 7 games when it's all said and done. I think Anaheim's good enough to compete, good enough to hang. And my initial series thoughts here, Alex, with this series, are with where the series price is and with the game one price where it is that similar to Montreal, Tampa Bay. I think Anaheim is going to be the value side in this series, like Montreal was in the first round against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to be betting Anaheim in every game in this series, and I certainly didn't bet Montreal in every game in their series, but just from a value and where the pricing has been, the pricing is of this series, I think there's going to be some value on the Anaheim side. Yeah. But primarily, I'm looking at 6 and 7 games and doing the 4-2, 4-3 bets on both sides here. And again, if it goes 6, regardless of who wins, this is going to be highly profitable based on what the prices are. That's why we do this. That's why this approach makes sense. 6, 7 games, if it goes that long, you cash one of your exact number of games bets, 6 or 7. And as long as it goes 6 or 7, regardless of who wins, you're going to cash a great plus price on an Anaheim 4-2, 4-3 or a Vegas 4-2, 4-3. That's why the approach makes logical bankroll sense here when it's all said and done. Alex, your overall thoughts, second round, Anaheim, Vegas.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This instantly feels like a series that we could see go tied at 2 games after the first four games, tied 2 games apiece. So when you have that feeling, that's when you have to go with that 6-7 stack. I have series go 6 games plus 210 at MGM, series go 7 games plus 200 at MGM, and MGM's where you're going to find actually really your best value of all the splits too. With Vegas 4-2, 4-3 plus 425 to win in 6, plus 400 to win in 7. Anaheim plus 600 to win it in 6 games, or at FanDuel and MGM, and plus 600 to win at MGM for Anaheim in 7. So, like I said, I feel this is going to be a back and forth, a long, drawn-out series. We talked about how Anaheim's speed definitely could be something that could give Vegas some trouble at times, but also, Vegas. This is another series where you have more of the experience, more of the playoff experience, the deeper rounds tested with the Golden Knights, as opposed to this Anaheim team where they just saw them get, like I said, out of that first round, but they had an opponent that was dealing with a lot of issues, dealing with a lot of injuries. It's not quite the case with Vegas here. So I feel like this is going to be a kind of a zigzag start to the series. I'll be just kind of playing small things in those first 4 games, but I feel like we can get a tied series after 4, and that'll lead us right into that 6-7 game split.
Yeah. And you can, by the way, unit measurement you're going to look, if you bet Vegas 4-2, Vegas 4-3, Anaheim 4-2, Anaheim 4-3, if it goes 6 or 7, you're going to make profit with one of those. But obviously you're going to make less profit if it's a Vegas 4-2 or a Vegas 4-3 based on the prices. Anaheim 4-2, 4-3 is a better price, obviously. So what you can do is you could just go flat 1 unit on each or whatever, same amount on all 4. Anaheim 4-2, 4-3, Vegas 4-2, 4-3. Or you could do what I do sometimes is I actually put a little bit more on the Vegas 4-2, 4-3 side so that I boost the profit just a little bit on that side of it, in case they win. You're going to be if you bet them all flat, same amount, you're going to be profitable anyway. If one of them hits, Vegas 4-2, 4-3, Anaheim 4-2, 4-3, but you'll just tap up a little bit more of the profit if you just tack on a little bigger amount to the Vegas bets compared to the Anaheim bet. It's something to consider, and it's personal preference.
It is, right?
But yeah,
and I like Anaheim to win the series.
Yeah,
I think Anaheim finds a way to. So I'm not going to add that. I got everything just a flat quarter unit across the board. So I have 1.5 units split amongst these 6 bets, and then like I said, I'll dabble and dime throughout game by game. But that's the way that I usually tend to play series, especially when I like a dog to come out of that spot within that 7 game split. Like I say, I got 6-1s basically, for Anaheim, so I don't have to add any more. I certainly won't be grabbing any Anaheim money line past game 5, with the spot that I'm in.
That Coach Q game 6, we talked about that. It had been dominance, right? 13-1 now. Was that just game 6s overall or closeout game 6s?
So the closeout game 6s.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, with a chance to close out an opponent now, is that up 3-2 and down 3-2 or just up 3-2?
I believe that's up 3-2.
Just up 3. That's what I thought. It's only when they're leading 3-2 in game 6. That's a Coach Quenneville stat, a track record. There we go. That's important to remember that. Just if Anaheim's up 3-2 in game 6 at home, we're probably gonna have to bet Anaheim. Yeah, that's what that means. Yeah. No, probably. We probably are going to bet Anaheim in that instance. But we'll see if they get there first. All right, going back to – oh, by the way, of course, I knew I was missing something. The player props for the series. Series-long goal score, series-leading goal score. I mean, I'm taking Cutter Gauthier. I know Eichel, he's a co-favorite, but I think he's got a great chance. Dorofeyev. I mean, I don't want to – just don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Go with the proven goal scorers. Gauthier, Dorofeyev, who became Skorofeyev at the end of that series. I think those players are worth a look here in this one. As far as leading point scorer in the series, close shave Barbashev. That guy's got a point in 6 straight games. Like, he's just been a consistent point producer. You're getting him in that 17-1 range at FanDuel for him to to be the leading point scorer in the series. Now, obviously, you'd favor other players ahead of him. I get it. Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, Mitch Marner, Leo Carlson, Gauthier. But Jackson Lacombe, 15-1 to lead the series in points. I mean, that guy just led the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in points for any position player. I mean, my goodness. You're getting some solid prices with players like that. Gauthier. Barbashev, Lacombe, as far as leading point scorer, they're worth a sprinkle to me. They're worth a small bet at the very least, given the track record, we have seen as far as point production from a Barbashev, from a Jackson Lacombe here for the Anaheim Ducks. So as far as those markets, leading goal score market for the series, leading point score market for the series, they're absolutely both of those, I think, nice value shots, Barbashev and Lacombe here for their respective teams. No question. I mean, it was just pretty impressive. And what I liked about Lacombe's game against Edmonton is not only the point production, it's what he was able to do defensively. I thought his defensive game was real solid as well against Edmonton. So, like I said, those are all definitely some looks that are worth it. And obviously with these players too, especially the goal scorer market, where I like Gauthier and Dorofeyev, we're also going to get involved with them to score their over goals for the series. You can bet that as well. Dorofeyev, just to get 3 goals is plus 120. Sign me up. Cutter Gauthier is around even money, plus 100, minus 105, just to get 3 goals in the series. Sign me up. I think those are very, very cheap prices. Yeah, Brett Howden, that's a giveaway for what I'm going to talk about with Game 1 there, Connor Watch Vids. But, I mean, lead the series might be a little strong, might be a little adventurous as far as Brett Howden leading the series in goals. But, at the same point in time, you can get for him, Brett Howden, plus 140 just to get 2 goals in the series, plus 500 to get 3. This guy's entering Game 1 tonight of this series on a 3-game goal scoring streak for the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't hate it. I think, again, keep it to a smaller bet, but worth a little small bet to me. Brett Howden stuff in this series leading goal scorer, over 1.5 goals at plus money for the series, over 2.5 goals at plus money for the series. So, yeah. It's a good series for those markets for the series long props. There's some good value to go around here. Leo Carlsson, point scorer too. I mean, I probably have to take Leo Carlsson. I thought he was utterly dominant at times throughout that Edmonton series. Now, again, there were some injuries, especially down the middle for Edmonton, that made things more difficult. But I'm seeing leading point getter. I mean, really, plus 800? Leo, leading point getter? I mean, that's a price that I'm not turning down with the way Leo Carlsson played, obviously, in that series. So there's some real good valued looks here as far as those series-long props. So those are some of them. I'll have them all up on Patreon, by the way. If you're having trouble keeping track of them all, get to patreon.com/ice guys, because on the card today, later on, I'll have all the series bets for Vegas Anaheim that I've made posted on the Patreon card. So patreon.com/ice guys, $10 per month. We'll have every series bet that I've made for this series, along, of course, with the Game 2 Philly, Carolina, Game 1 Anaheim, Vegas stuff also posted on the page. All right, Game 1 specifically. We noted that, yes, Vegas finally got past Utah in 6 games. They had trouble with Utah's speed. They had trouble with turning pucks over and it feeding the transition attack of the Utah Mammoth. And odd man rushes were an issue. Well, if they're going to have that problem reoccur here in this series, then Anaheim's going to make them pay maybe even times 5, times 10, because they've got that ability to do that, the Anaheim Ducks. So I think this is a series where Anaheim is very much in it, very much got a shot in this series. We'll see how it starts. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm taking Anaheim plus 150 in Game 1, with the thought process being that if they don't win Game 1 tonight, I'll just come back on it in Game 2, and I might even go bigger in Game 2. It's kind of like that Martingale theory. Martingale, I should say, theory, where it's, you lose Game 1, but then you come back in Game 2 with Anaheim and you bet a little more on it if you lost with them in Game 1. That's kind of what I'm going to do here, because I see this being a split, 1-1 going back to Anaheim. I'd be surprised if Vegas goes up 2-0, because I think they have their hands full in this series. So I'm going to go with quack, quack, little Anaheim plus 150 here. I'm also going to go over trifecta here as well, just like I did with Minnesota, Colorado. Over 1.5 first period, both teams to score first period, over 6.5 full game. I think there's a good Matty Rob special game. Over 1.5 first period, over 5.5 full game in a parlay makes sense to me. 4-3 was the final score in all 3 regular season meetings between the Vegas Golden Knights and Anaheim Ducks. All 3 went over the total. All of them got to 7 goals. And I think this series will have that kind of loose feel to it at the very beginning. kind of back and forth. Now, I'm not saying we're going to see 9-6 again, like with Minnesota, Colorado last night, but I definitely think we clear 6.5 here tonight in game one. Again, all three meetings got to 7 goals between them during the regular season. So give me the over trifecta and give me a little sprinkle on Anaheim here, plus 150 in this one. And another thing I'm going to do too is if the team totals for Anaheim and Vegas at any point during this game fall to 2.5 at a playable price, I'll bet some live team totals here in this game as well. Alex, game one specifically, how are you seeing it? Anaheim, Vegas.
Yeah, this definitely feels like it's going to be a high-flying affair. I grabbed first period over 1.5 minus 130. I will try and wait for a little bit better of a price in game on the full game over. So, try and get a little greedy and hopefully grab maybe a flat 6 with that. But I definitely like that first period over. I think we see some goals back and forth in this contest and just throughout the series as well. I also have a bargain bin from this game one as well.
Yeah, there you go. Bargain bin as well. Me too. And yes, how about the big news for Vegas? Yes, William Karlsson. Remember him? It's been a long time since we've seen him. He has not played since November the 8th. That is the last time we saw William Karlsson for the Vegas Golden Knights. And look, this is one of the holdovers still from the first Stanley Cup championship team, obviously, with the Vegas Golden. Oh, there's a few more. And I'm talking about an original Vegas Golden Knight from all the way back. He was on the team year one when they got to the Stanley Cup final and lost to the Washington Capitals. That's how long Wild Bill William Karlsson's been around. He's finally back. He hasn't played since November. Looks like Torts is going to put him on the third line tonight alongside Kolasar and Hurdle, centering that third line. Looks like Riley Smith is going to come out of the lineup, which I have no issues with that. He's been pretty invisible for most of this series, or most of these playoffs so far for the Vegas Golden Knights. So Karlsson back in. That's the one main lineup change here for the Jeremy Lauzon is out, and it looks like Caden Korzak is going to draw in on the blue line in place of Jeremy Lauzon, who's going to be out here for game one tonight. Actually, or is it Ben Hutton that's getting in? It might be Hutton, actually, because Hutton didn't play at all in that first round against Utah. I think it might be Ben Hutton that's going to get that spot on the third pair tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights with Lauzon ailing here for the Golden Knights. And as far as props go, I mentioned a lot of players I think are good as far as props. Lacombe point, Barbashev point. You could either bet Barbashev's point prop or goal and an assist, split it between the two, same thing. Those are worth a look. As far as McTavish has collected a point in 4 straight games. Gauthier goal, definitely, and 3-game point streak for him. Shea Theodore, 3-game point streak. We've talked about how he's, I think since John Tortorella put him on the top power play unit, I think that's kind of where we've seen Shea Theodore's offensive game from the blue line expand. And again, he's on a 3-game point streak. Yeah, Ryan Poehling, I don't argue with. Ryan Poehling's been an unsung hero for the Anaheim Ducks in these playoffs. He scored in 3 of the last 5 games. He scored in the series clincher against Edmonton on Friday night. So Ryan Poehling is worth a shot. And he obviously mentioned Brett Howden, 3 straight games with a goal for the Vegas Golden Knights. He's absolutely clicking right now with Mitch Marner and Mark Stone on that second line for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, like I said, a lot of good props here for the series and for game one here tonight. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And like I said, 2 good games tonight. Looking forward to it. We're also looking forward to our next Ice Guys live betcast. This one is free for all. You do not have to be a Patreon member to join us for this betcast. Wednesday night, May the 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we now know it will be the Montreal Canadiens and the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo for game 1 to start the betcast on Wednesday night, followed by game 2 of this Anaheim-Vegas series on Wednesday night. So looking forward to that at 7 p.m. Eastern time this Wednesday night. Again, DM or email me for a spot on the betcast, and we'll send you the link for the betcast to join us on the stream before it begins. But special preference goes to our Patreon members. If we ever get full capacity on the free-for-all betcast, we will obviously deviate toward allowing the Patreon members to be the ones on the actual betcast. So again, Wednesday night, May 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us for the NHL live betcast. Now, Alex will be traveling back home later in the week, so he won't be on for the full betcast Wednesday night, but he'll join for a little bit during it on Wednesday night, and he'll chip in and chime in for a little bit, say hello. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us for that. WizardSportsPicks.com. Check it out. We got a 2-0 sweep for me. We gave out Montreal. We gave out the Minnesota-Colorado over on the site. So nice 2-0 there. WizardSportsPicks.com. Great NHL season there. Profitable NBA season. MLB's going on as well. Check it out. WizardSportsPicks.com. And, of course, Patreon.com, as we mentioned, /Ice Guys, $10 per month, goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So, again, looking forward to that. $10 per month. And, again, your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. So get on board. Again, Betcast. Well, it's not Patreon only, but we will have 2 Patreon Betcasts next week. Okay, so stay tuned for that. The latter part of the second round, we're going to deliver 2 Patreon Betcasts next week. Dates to be determined. So make sure you check it out. $10 per month. Get on board at patreon.com/iceguys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You got 2 days left to save 25% off all items that are in the store right now. Hit the redeem button at the homepage, add your items to your cart. 25% will be taken off at checkout. Springtime is a great time to grab a few items from the store. You can get t-shirts, hoodies, caps, mugs, you name it. We've got it. You can save 25% for the next 2 days over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Good stuff. Make sure you check out the store. Summer's warm weather coming. Great time of year to get some gear and some merch over at the store. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. I do have a grievance, though, to say before we get into this segment. So the Colorado Avalanche scored 9 goals last night, and I can't get fucking 1 goal from Gabe Landeskog from our bargain bin special last night. What's up with that? What gives? Come on. You kidding me? BS. Oh, well. 9 goals. We can't get 1 from the fucking captain last night, Gabe Landeskog. Something's wrong with that picture. Anyway, enough with the griping. On we go. New day, new money, bargain bin special for Monday night. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you got?
Yeah, let's go with that Anaheim Vegas series starting up tonight. I'm going to go with Chris Kreider to get on the board here. Anytime goal scorer, you can get plus 360 with him in FanDuel for the Anaheim Ducks. I just feel like he's one of those guys, always masters of tip in, always finds himself right in the front of the net. I think he gets credit for one of the night here. So plus 360, we'll go with Chris Kreider as my bargain bin special this Monday night.
Good stuff. Chris Kreider for the Anaheim Ducks for Alex B. Smith with bargain bin special of the night. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. He's as red hot as it gets right now for the Vegas Golden Knights. We're going to Brett Howden once again. Plus 350 for the Vegas Golden Knights. 3 straight games with a goal. He's found great chemistry playing alongside Mitch Marner and Mark Stone on that second line. He's been great for the Golden Knights. He's feeling it. Brett Howden for the Vegas Golden Knights. Plus 350. It's my only bargain bin special of the night for this Monday NHL slate. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you got for best bet?
Yeah, don't anticipate a lot of scoring in this game or this series, but I do like both teams to score in the second period of Carolina and Philly. You can grab that plus 182 over at BetOnline. So that second period, both teams to score with the Canes and Flyers. It's my best bet for tonight.
All right, I'm going back. Well, we had an over last night. We're going to have to see if we can cash another one tonight. Let's take Anaheim Vegas. Over 6.5, minus 105. I like first period over and first period both teams to score as well. But we'll go to that full game over because we did see exactly 7 goals in all 3 meetings during the regular season. between the Anaheim Ducks and Vegas Golden Knights. And Anaheim went 3-0, by the way, against Vegas. I didn't even mention that. Anaheim won all 3 meetings. Well, that's why I don't think there's going to be a cakewalk series here for the Golden Knights. They're going to have to earn it. And I do think I'm going to, like I said, I'm on Anaheim tonight, game 1, with a little bet on that. We'll probably have a bigger bet on Anaheim in game 2 if they lose game 1 tonight. But for the best bet, we'll go with Anaheim Vegas over 6.5 minus 105 for my best bet. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Yeah, I like that, Benji. 3 goals. Both teams to score 3 goals. That's another way to bet it. It's a good price, plus 145. And it was 4-3 in all 3 games. And so both teams did score 3 goals in all 3 games. That's another bet worth looking at as well. Good stuff. We'll save the Leaf stuff for tomorrow. I'll mention it tomorrow on the show, the Leaf press conference. I have a few things to say about that, but we'll save it for tomorrow. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, for Rachel Kryshak, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll be back tomorrow on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.